Most fans of Sex and the City are well aware that the show was based on Candace Bushnell's weekly column in the New York Observer. But what they might not realize is just how closely Carrie Bradshaw, the show's iconic character, mirrors Bushnell herself. After all, they even share the same initials. So, in this video, we are discovering the fascinating story of the woman who turned her own life experiences into a cultural phenomenon and comparing her to her on-screen counterpart. Candace Bushnell was born on the 1st of December 1958 and raised in Connecticut. Her father was a research engineer who worked on the Apollo spacecraft, and her mother was a businesswoman. Reflecting on her upbringing, Bushnell said, "I grew up in New England, in a country town where people never talked about money. They talked about discipline, manners, character. There was much less income disparity. The way a lot of people lived, they'd be upper middle class, but they had 1.5 baths. We didn't have a lot of money, but I had kind of an idyllic childhood. I rode horses. They were backyard horses, but it was like I was going to take that little backyard pony and beat the fancier kids with more money. That kind of plucky thing." She moved to New York in 1977 at the age of 19, driven by dreams of making it as an actress after dropping out of university. However, she quickly discovered that acting wasn't actually her forte and shifted her focus to writing. "I made a horrible actress," she said. "The closest I got to fame was a callback for a Burger King commercial." Bushnell's early days in New York were marked by struggle and instability. She bounced between various apartments, often with roommates, and frequently slept on sofa beds. She once recalled, "I didn't have a place to live. Anne and I made a deal. I had to answer the phone and pretend to be her secretary, and I could live there. I slept on a fold-out couch. I had no money. I probably made $2,000 a month." In one particularly memorable apartment, she lived with 3 aspiring Broadway actresses who rehearsed and sung all day, adding to the challenge of concentrating on her writing. The apartment was situated in a red light district, surrounded by constant noise from neighboring units, further complicating her efforts to write. Her frugal living situation continued long after the success of her weekly column in the New York Observer. She frequently alluded to it in her writing. "You're 40 and pretty, and you're a television producer, or you have your own PR company, but you still live in a studio or sleep on a fold-out couch." The 90s equivalent of Mary Tyler Moore? This is the first major difference between Candace Bushnell and her on-screen counterpart, Carrie Bradshaw. For the most of the show, Carrie lives alone in her charming, rent-controlled apartment on the Upper West Side of Manhattan. The interior is cozy and eclectic, featuring a living area with vintage and modern furniture, a small kitchen where Carrie famously stores her shoes in the oven, and a bedroom with a double bed, vanity table, and an extensive closet filled with designer clothes. The apartment reflects Carrie's quirky and fashionable personality. It serves as a social hub for Carrie and her friends, as well as her personal sanctuary where she writes her weekly column. It's a space that embodies her lifestyle and passions. In other words, it's every single girl's dream. Like many who watched Sex and the City during their adolescence, I romanticized growing up, being 30 and, well, living independently. Carrie's apartment made the idea of living alone seem glamorous. But back then, I was too young to realize this was an idealized depiction of singledom, and even Candace Bushnell herself didn't live like this at the beginning of her career. She did, however, always have a penchant for expensive designer clothes, especially footwear. Even the logo of her column was inspired by a pair of Calvin Klein sandals she bought on sale.
I need your honest opinion. You can't afford them?
Peter Stevenson, a former editor at the New York Observer, noted Bushnell's spending habits. Whenever she was paid a piece, she would be more likely to buy a pair of $800 shoes than go out and stock up the fridge. I remember one of her staples was sardines and crackers. Funny enough, Bushnell herself recalls eating this meal, a girl dinner, if you will, in her very first Sex and the City column.
"I spent $40,000 on shoes and I have no place to live?"
Had the TV show stayed true to its book origins and Bushnell's life, Carrie's living situation, especially in the earlier seasons, might have resembled more closely that of Holly Golightly in the film adaptation of Truman Capote's Breakfast at Tiffany's. In the film, Holly lives in between social classes. She wears custom Givenchy gowns and glamorous alligator shoes, but her apartment is messy and barely decorated, and she uses a bathtub as a sofa. The comparison to Holly Golightly is not accidental here because Bushnell mentions her character pretty early in the book. Truman Capote understood our 90s dilemma, the dilemma of love versus the deal, all too well. In Breakfast at Tiffany's, Holly Golightly and Paul Varjak were faced with restrictions. He was a kept man, she was a kept woman, but in the end they surmounted them and chose love over money. That doesn't happen much in Manhattan these days. We're all kept men and women, by our jobs, by our apartments, and then some of us by the pecking order at Mortimer's and the Royalton, by Hampton's beachfront, by front row garden tickets. And we like it that way. Self-protection
and closing the deal are paramount. Cupid has flown the co-op.
But back to Candace Bushnell's writing career. Thanks to her determination and talent, she granted her first entry-level work with a magazine called Night, followed by contributions to Ladies' Home Journal. Throughout the 1980s, she wrote for Mademoiselle, Esquire, and Vogue, where she wrote the People Are Talking About column. She also wrote a children's story, to which an American publishing Simon & Schuster bought the rights, but unfortunately they never published it.
So, I'm dying to hear your pitch. I never knew you were interested in writing children's books.
Well, who doesn't love children's books?
Eventually, she began writing for the New York Observer, a witty Manhattan newspaper focused on media, business, society, and local politics. In 1994, Peter Kaplan, the editor-in-chief of the New York Observer, suggested she start a column about women like herself, single and living in New York City. At the time, it was still relatively uncommon for women in their 30s to be unmarried, making the column's premise fresh and intriguing. Bushnell was paid $1,000 per column, $250 more than other columnists at the paper.
I have been offered $4 a word at Vogue. That is a lot. Most people get $2.
To this day, many fans of Sex and the City are questioning how Carrie Bradshaw could afford her apartment and a closet full of designer items on a columnist's salary. However, in a 2022 interview with The New Yorker, Candace Bushnell revealed that writing was highly lucrative in the 1990s. She said, "I worked for Vogue, writing the People Are Talking About column, and got paid $5,000 a month. The Observer paid less, but I could afford that because of Vogue. I mean, this was a time that writers were getting a Vanity Fair contract for 6 pieces and $250,000 a year. People valued writing. It wasn't considered something anyone can do. Now, because of the computer, everyone has to do it, so we think everyone can do it." This context helps explain how Carrie Bradshaw's character could maintain her lavish lifestyle despite contemporary skepticism. In the 1990s, being a well-regarded writer for prestigious publications could indeed support a lavish lifestyle. That said, this certainly wasn't the norm for every writer in New York City, but it was achievable for some.
Oh, guess what? I got Vogue up to $4.50 a word.
Bushnell's very first Sex and the City column for the New York Observer was entitled Swinging Sex, I Don't Think So, and explored the world of New York-based swingers club Le Trapeze. Le Trapeze was located in a white stone building covered with graffiti. The entrance was discreet, with a rounded metal railing, a downmarket version of the entrance to the Royalton Hotel. A couple was coming out as we were going in, and when the woman saw us, she covered her face with the collar of her coat. "Was it fun?" I asked. She looked at me in horror and ran into a taxi. When Darren Star adapted Bushnell's book and columns into the TV show script, he omitted this text, worrying it was way too provocative and graphic for television. However, the scriptwriters eventually found a way to pay a subtle nod to the first ever published Sex and the City column in a more PG-13 way. And let me tell you, it's a true if you know moment.
An editor at New York Magazine thought I would be the perfect person to write about the ultimate challenge for swingers, the flying trapeze.
Now, as you've probably noticed, Candace Bushnell's early work was written entirely in the first person. However, she quickly introduced the character of Carrie Bradshaw, a journalist in her mid-30s whom she called her friend. Recently, my friend Carrie, a journalist in her mid-30s, decided as a group of us were having tea at the Mayfair Hotel to try it out in the real world, to give it up on love as it were and throttle up on power in order to find contentment. And as we'll see, it worked. Sort of. "You remember when I slept with that guy Drew?" she asked. We all nodded. We were all relieved she had, because she hadn't had sex for months before that. Well, afterwards, I didn't feel a thing. I was like, gotta go to work, babe. Keep in touch. I completely forgot about him after that.
Well, afterwards, I didn't feel a thing. It was like, hey, babe, gotta go. Catch you later. And I completely forgot about him after that.
In an interview with Elle magazine, Bushnell revealed that she created Carrie as her alter ego to keep her parents from realizing her dating column was based on her own sex life. At first, I was writing the column in the first person, she explained. Then my conservative parents announced they were getting a subscription to The Observer. That's when Carrie Bradshaw was born. By creating Carrie, Bushnell was able to maintain a degree of separation between her personal experiences and her published work and protect her privacy to some degree. In her social circle, everyone knew Carrie Bradshaw was indeed her. After all, they even share the same initials, CB, further blurring the lines between the author and her fictional counterpart. This blurred identity even caused some men to be cautious of dating Bushnell, fearing they might end up in her column. One notable exception was Ron Galati, a former publisher at GQ, Vogue, and Vanity Fair. In other words, the man who inspired Mr. Big's character. In the TV show, Carrie and Mr. Big have a very charming and spontaneous first meeting, which reflects the romantic comedy tone of the show. They bump into each other on the street, her bag falls to the ground, and Mr. Big helps pick up the contents. In the book, their meeting is more nuanced and social, set against a backdrop of parties and media events that underline the glamour and complexity of their world. A man walked by with a cigar in his mouth, and one of the men Carrie was talking to said, "Ooh, who's that? He looks like a younger, better-looking Ron Perelman." "I know who that is," Carrie said. "Who?" "Mr. Big." Carrie had seen Mr. Big once before, but she didn't think he'd remember her. She was in this office where she works sometimes, and Inside Edition was interviewing her about something she wrote about Chihuahuas. Mr. Big came in and started talking to the cameraman about how Chihuahuas were all over Paris, and Carrie leaned over and tightened the lace of her boot. At the party, Mr. Big was sitting on the radiator in the living room. "Hi," Carrie said. "Remember me?" She could tell by his eyes that he had no idea who she was, and she wondered if he was going to panic. He twirled the cigar around the inside of his lips and took it out of his mouth. He looked away to flick his ash, then looked back at her.
Abso-fucking-lutely.
Whenever I rewatch Sex and the City, I always wonder if Miranda, Charlotte, Samantha, Aiden, Steve, and other characters know their lives are frequently featured in Carrie's column, and if so, why does nobody ever object to that? In real life, Ron Galati, aka Mr. Big, often read Bushnell's columns and allegedly remarked, "Cute baby, cute."
I started reading your column after we met.
You did?
Yeah. Cute.
Cute.
Well, yeah, cute.
Unfortunately, just like in the TV show, after a short honeymoon phase, Carrie and Mr. Big's relationship quickly started to fall apart. The cracks began to show when Miranda revealed a disturbing piece of information. Miranda said she knows some girl who was dating Mr. Big during the first month he was dating Carrie. "I thought he only saw her once," Carrie said. "Oh no. They saw each other several times. Several. That's why I didn't call you for a whole month. I didn't know whether to tell you or not." "I think this is bad stuff," Carrie said. The next morning, after the freakout, when Carrie was lying in Mr. Big's bed, she tried to think about what she really wanted. Life felt like it had changed, But had it really? She thinks, I'm still not married, I still don't have kids. Will it ever happen?
Oh, sure. I was just, I just didn't realize you were dating other women.
Well, not a lot of them.
I can't believe it. He's seen other women. Rick.
Their relationship was notoriously unstable and full of drama, with lavish gifts sometimes serving as temporary patches over underlying problems. In one of the chapters, Bushnell writes about getting a mink fur coat as a Christmas gift from Big, which is I suppose why Carrie wears a massive fur coat in the show's first 2 seasons. Mr. Big came home. He had a big package under his arm. "What's that?" Carrie asked. "It's a present from me," Mr. Big said. He went into the bedroom and came out holding a white mink coat. Merry Christmas. This excerpt highlights a key aspect of Mr. Big's character both in the TV show and the book: his penchant for impressive grand gestures which often mask deeper emotional complexities. Like in the TV show, Carrie and Big are portrayed as having severe communication issues within their relationship and wanting different things in life. Still, Candace Bushnell ends her book with the hopeful line, "Carrie and Mr. Big are still together." However, reality diverged from fiction. Galati broke up with her in 1996 and married someone else 5 years later.
How can you be engaged? You have a problem with commitment, remember? In fact, you told me you never wanted to get married again, ever.
Well, things change.
Meaning what? You just didn't want to marry me.
Bushnell was devastated, reflecting, "I was really crazy about him, but you do realize that people want different things in relationships. And that's okay." In 2002, she found love again and married Charles Askegaard, a principal ballet dancer with the New York City Ballet. Bushnell's personal life once again influenced the show, leading to the casting of Mikhail Baryshnikov, a renowned ballet dancer, as Carrie's love interest, Alexander Petrovsky, in the last season.
Would you dance with me?
In a previously mentioned interview for The New Yorker, the journalist asked Bushnell when Carrie no longer felt like her. She said, "When the character of Carrie sleeps with Mr. Big after he's married to somebody else, that's when I felt like the character is becoming something other." She was also very vocal about disliking the fairy tale ending of the show. She told The Guardian, "I think in real life Carrie and Big wouldn't have ended up together. But at that point, the TV show had become so big. Viewers got so invested in the storyline of Carrie and Big that it became a bit like Mr. Darcy and Elizabeth Bennet. They had become an iconic couple and women really related to it. It became part of the lexicon. And when people are making a TV show, it's show business, not show art. So at that point, it was for the audience, and we weren't thinking about what the impact would be 10 years later." Today, Candace Bushnell continues to thrive in her career, expanding well beyond her success with Sex and the City. She has written several books, including Lipstick Jungle, The Carrie Diaries, and Killing Monica, all of which explore the lives of modern women with her usual wit and insight. Bushnell has also brought her talents to the stage with her one-woman show. The show is well received and strengthens her role as a cultural commentator and beloved figure in today's media. Through her ongoing storytelling, Candace Bushnell's influence remains strong, showing how personal stories can shape cultural conversations. If you've liked this video, please don't forget to give it a like and subscribe to my channel if it's not already done, and I'll see you very soon. Bye!